Good morning, family. This is your Sensei Hal Bob, and it's Monday morning, 2 days before Halloween. And the last few live chats that we've had here, I've talked a lot about, stories of incredulity, and I talked a lot about one of the things that's needed is to not let yourself be run by disbelief, and that we all need a strong case for suspension of our disbelief. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I really hate myself. Oh. No. It's more like E-I-O, whatever the dwarf said. But I want to show you something. Look at that out there. We're going to go out there and look at it. You know, I'm this, as I say before, this isn't anybody's place but the hills, And and get outside. It's fall, one of the most beautiful seasons of the year. Go out, take a walk. Do some exercise. Not do exercise. Why do I walk around or do exercise? It is because it feels good, not because it's going to make me look good, or I'll be able to wear those designer clothes, or look like I'm 30 years younger than than I am. I am what I am. You know, we should all embrace who we are, and not get upset that we're not 19 anymore. Look how beautiful this is. you know, and when we're young, I know I sure was. I mean, why I died 6 times is because I thought I was invincible. You know, good cop, and she a cop. I remember one time we were going someplace and we weren't allowed to even have weapons. So she's at this desk and she like took out 32 weapons. She had more than 4 guns on her. It was like, really? I never knew you had that. And I really wasn't a cop. I worked for the New York City Housing Authority, and I was more a shrink. But it was, But look at this. This is why you're alive. This is what you should be appreciating, not working 70 hours a week so you can buy a little fancier car. Meaning, I've had to, what's his name is all upset that I didn't have a fancy car. I've had the same car for 10 years and I take good care of it and I drive it slow and steady, and because I have no money to buy another car. So this is what I live for right here, and talking to you guys. So, is there anybody out there? One person. Well, it's getting a little cold, but this is fall. I love living in a place that has 4 seasons. And fall has taken its time getting here, but here it is October, and yes, the trees are starting to turn colors. Anyway, we need to. A lot of people have a pity party. I feel so. Things are terrible. Oh, I hate myself. I want to die. Blah 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 blah. No, no. You were given this life, by love's love. And our gift to love's love is what we do with this life. And, I have no money. And this week I'm going to figure out how to get that Patreon account. But even with that, that's not going to make me rich, but it'll make it a little more, you know, convenient. I'll be able to afford a little gas. I'll be able to buy won't have to choose between my phone, my food, and my meds. Things like that would be nice. But the thing is, I've done a lot of stuff in my life. I've had many, many lives. And at a certain point, that's kind of when I went and worked for the Desperate Lawyers. I said, well, I've done all this stuff and I've made a difference. And I appreciated the fact that I was the little pebble and not, the guy in the spotlight, And that my little ripples did change a lot of people's lives and help them out, and that was good. And that when I went and worked for the Desperate Lawyers and made the most serious, change I've, not change like social change, but, change in my pocket, that was okay. And it was because, hey, I changed those folks too. I made their lives better. I made people happy to be alive, and that's why they would sign the contract, instead of being the pity Jew. "Well, I'm not going to sign it. I hate it." No, I turned them into nicer people. And that lifestyle for almost 10 years of, eating 20,000 calories a day and, not doing too much physical exercise and hanging out with people that were that picture of me as a rabbi, really, Rebbe. That's who, and these guys weren't even spiritual about it. They weren't even theologic about it. They were just greedy and stupid about it. And now that we're living in a society, we've always lived in a society that was greedy and stupid. Every leader has been corrupt, and you can't name any politician that is still around. Because if you're a politician that's doing the right thing, you usually end up dead or in jail. And not because, all the guys who really are crooks never go to jail. And look at that Wiener guy, just with a name like Wiener, he shouldn't have run for office. But, they gave him 3, 4, 5. He kept doing stupid, bad things. And I don't know why, but I don't really want to focus in this live chat on the negative things, because that's what stupid humans do. And it gives us the opportunity to step up and do better. That's the whole thing about the human experience, is like, we don't have to be stuck being the moron that we are. We can try and do better, So let's hear from you guys about doing better. Let's see, what have you said so far? Put on 2 of my glasses so I can read. We got some nice colors. Okay, yeah, in Oregon, yeah. Rain Polly, hello. Okay, good morning. Understandable. Negative things such as waste of time. This is true. Look at all that, man, Candy Crush. They had that commercial, that movie star guy, all he's doing is playing Candy Crush. He can't even be a useless actor. And the Deadpool movies. Anyway, so the thing is, the best thing to do with your time is to help others. The best thing you can do with your time is make the people you care about happy, not miserable. The best thing you can do with your time is help yourself and make yourself happy by helping others and making others happy. The best thing you can do is work towards making Mother Earth a safer place, meaning whatever we do to screw up our environment, we're not going to destroy Earth. You know, a freaking asteroid hit Earth and killed everything, and it came back. So that's not the problem. Whatever we do is like hurting us. And the the carbon issue is like a joke because it's not that it's not happening. It's like carbon is good. Plant more trees. Trees suck up carbon and kick out oxygen. The thing is, the chemicals we're using, the waste. There are islands of garbage in the Pacific that are bigger than Texas. There's many of them. I saw one in the 70s, and that was the 70s. Out there in the Pacific near Australia. It was I saw the when I was out in the Nukumba in the Northern Territories, I knew something was wrong with the sun. The Aborigines told me. They said, your people sent burning bad pencils into the sky and ignited a sun. And that has, burnt the sky. And it has affected the sun. And things are not going to be good. So, I knew all of these things. Was in, the out there near the Wallowa Missile Range. I was out there near Alice Springs, and I was at Ayers Rock. These were all kind of touchstones of what was heading our way. And when I came back, I was in New York. The weekend I came back, I called up my friend Lucy Lepard, who ran Printed Matter and Art on the Beach. He was one of the, touchstones of the art scene in New York. And I said, "So Lucy, what's up?" "Oh, you're back." I said, Yep. She goes, "You won't believe it. We're having an event in the landfill." And that's where, Art on the Beach was. So we went there, and what was there but a group of Aborigines doing a corroboree right in front of the World Trade Center. I have some pictures of that somewhere. And those guys were on the airplane when I was coming back from Australia, and I took, 3 different airplanes, Sydney to Hawaii, Hawaii to LA, LA to New York. And every time I got on the plane, I saw them. 2 of the planes, they were on the plane with me. And the first time I saw this group, they were decked out like cowboys, like you couldn't believe, And this one guy, Aborigines, kind of lifted his sleeve of his cowboy shirt, and he had 10 Timex watches on his wrist. And he lifted it up. He was across the room. We weren't really talking, but he lifted it up, showed me the watches, and smiled, and then covered them up. And my one of the old guys who I used to do walkabout and do corroborees with in the Northern Territories in Christmas Creek, basically said that time was irrelevant, didn't exist, and he said it was like wearing 10 watches on your arm. None of the times are right because all of the times are right. And all time is that 1 second of co-creation. The Big Bang, we're still in it. Our souls, our consciousnesses have just put ourselves in this illusion of a linear time. And again, the masses of people, "Oh, you're nuts, come on." It's because they can't suspend their disbelief. And disbelief, what is disbelief? But the disease of the mind, the disease of the spirit. But here we are. It's a beautiful fall day, 2 days before Halloween, and the whole pagan holiday season of Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas and New Year's. These are all pagan holidays. If you didn't know it or not, go look it up. So, Jesus wasn't a Capricorn. He wasn't born on Christmas. That's another pagan holiday. And the pagans who took over Christianity kind of slipped all of their pagan holidays into Christian holidays. All the demigods are saints. That's why the Muslims aren't a big fan of Christianity, because their religion says there's only one God, and you're not supposed to, cherish or give offerings to other demigods. The Muslims are like kind of Christians on steroids. If Christians only kind of knew that. Good old Gandhi, who was a Hindu, was once asked when he was in England, "What do you think of Christianity?" And he says, "Well, I really like Jesus Christ. He's like my co-pilot. But his followers, well, I'm not too happy with them." And that's kind of it, because the followers take it and make it a money-making thing. So all you guys out there who, my life sucks, well, change it. Be the change you want to see. Stop going to church and start taking that money and giving it to poor people. If you do go to church, get in the face of your minister to change the church. I spent a good 5 years in Roanoke. There's 600 churches in the municipal area of the city of Roanoke. There's Vinton and Salem and other things that, basically are part of Roanoke, but they're separate things. So you look at all those things, there's 600 churches. Only one that kind of keeps its door open is the Catholic Church on the top of the hill. And they have a school that they basically let the kids go. You don't even have to be Catholic. And most of the kids going to that school are poor black folk. And they do that because they give a better education than any other education system. And they had a big chunk of change. And they decided in the 70s, when their community was being ripped apart by the developers, that they were going to do Jesus's work, help the poor. And they do their best, within the construct of their dogmas and their organizational structures, but they do a pretty good job. But the other 599 churches, no, only 11 do have anything to do with helping people. The rest just put the money in their pocket and don't pay taxes on it. There's about 20 Christian churches and organizations that say they're all there for helping the poor, but they're not. They're there to get grant money and put it in their pocket. TAP and Goodwill and the Mission and Straight Streets and a bunch of others that say they're there, not so much. And they really don't like it when you start sniffing around, seeing what they're doing and what they're doing with their money and who gets the money and their business plan. Oh, they don't like that. And that was what I did for 5 years. I would go to these guys and say, "Hey, let's do a better job here. Let me help you. I'm an organizational guy. I'll write you some grants." So if they thought I was going to get them money, hey, they loved me. When I started pointing, that was my hook to get in. And once I got in and I started saying, "Hey, what about this and what about that?" they were like, "Oh, we don't need your help." And then years later, when I got sick and then ran out of cash, I went back to Goodwill and I, signed up for their program where they train you. Well, yeah, hey, I got more degrees than a thermometer. I thought they could use. I knew their organizational thing. I knew they could kind of use a guy like me if they wanted to do some good for the poor. Well, I got there and I filled out 40 pages of paperwork, which they were going to use to amortize to get more grant money, right? And then they said, "Okay, well, we're going to give you a caseworker." So they did. And this woman started to cry. because I was talking to her and made her feel like a human being. And she's, I live in, she lived about 30, 40 miles away, and she had to drive every day into Roanoke to do this job. And she was a trainee herself. She had worked at a bank, and she was pretty good at filling out paperwork. And so they had her doing this, and she said, "My husband has cancer. I have no. It's bled us dry. This is the only kind of work I could get, and they pay me $7 an hour for 20 hours a week, but they make me work 70 hours." So she's like, making 38 cents an hour, right? And she has to pay for the gas and everything else. And she was just burned to a crisp. And so, I'm saying, okay, that's okay. So I go to the next person, who's a person I, gave a lecture to about, 8 years earlier. And she's on her phone playing Candy Crush and has me sit, outside her office while I'm looking at her playing, Candy Crush and talking to her girlfriend on the phone. And I keep saying, hey, what about me? And she's, I'll get to you when I'm finished with this work. And she's playing Candy Crush, talking to her girlfriend. Anyway, so she finally has me in the office, and she has a whole nother ream of paperwork for me to fill out. She goes, here, fill this out. I said, I can't, I can't see, and you need to. And she says, okay, I'll fill it out. And she starts asking me the same questions this other woman who asked me these questions 40 minutes ago. And I said, wait a minute, I already filled this out. Where is that, all those forms that I signed? And she goes, we lost those. I said, that was 40 minutes ago. That woman's just across the hall. How could you lose that? And she goes, what kind of attitude do you have? And anyway, she then looks at this list, and I got metal clamps on my legs, and I'm walking with a walker. And she goes, well, the only thing, what I think you're really good for will be unloading trucks. And I said, excuse me? I said, I've got about 10 different, educational degrees. I could teach, I could do this, I could do that. There are a lot of things I could do. Unloading trucks, look at my legs, look at the walker. I don't think I could do it. She goes, well, we don't like people who have bad attitudes. And then she took me to her superior, and her superior, I knew her. I mean, when I worked at Goodwill and wrote grants for them, this woman I knew. And so she's looking at me, and I'm looking like a homeless guy, kind of how I look now. I got a hoodie, and I had a big coat, and I had a blanket wrapped around me. And so she goes, well, you're going to have to change your look. You're going to have to clean up. I said, well, I'm a homeless guy, and how am I supposed to clean up? And anyway, I'm just waiting for her to say, is that you, Al? She just tells me what a bad attitude, and how they, unless I change, unless I want to, have a job that they can, and the job they want me to be is a slave, because basically the truck I'd be unloading wasn't one of theirs. It would be a company that they're getting $12 an hour for, and I'm getting 73 cents for, and have no medical care and no anything, and no place to live. And so hey, look at me. And she looks at me, and I said, don't you recognize me? And then I tell her who I was teaching you how to be an administrator, and you got this nice cushy job. It's because I showed you how to do it. And she just got up and said, get out. And she screamed down the hallway, security, security. And that is the, social kind of organizational, political philosophy that we find ourselves at. Now, America has always been that to a degree, but we were always expanding, so there was always a place for the individual to go out to and do the American dream. And in the, between 48 and 68, there wasn't the American dream, it was the American reality. If you were a high school student, worked in a factory, the union, you had health care, you got paid well, your kids could go to college, and if you needed a lawyer, the union would provide one. There's none of that. Zip, zilch, because they got rid of all the manufacturing jobs because that whole economic system basically created a political structure that the powers that be didn't like. And so they got rid of it, They got rid of the unions. They got rid of, basically, they called FDR a socialist, and other people communists. And, they turned both of those into like being the devil. And, the Democratic Party can't even say it. There are a lot of really good people running for office who've never run for office before. And, they aren't part of that slimy skill set that Donald Trump has. So, well, I mean, people were going on that he was going to be gone. I mean, he was so terrible. After what happened in Charlottesville, people said, oh, this guy can't. Well, look, he's more popular today than he was then, He's doing more harm. He's at it with a wrecking ball like you can't believe. And he's not, draining the swamp. Look at the guys who are in his cabinet. They're all Wall Street guys, all guys who should be in jail for what they did in the early O's and culminated in '08. But see, the real deal is that none of that matters. You can go, oh, life sucks. It's so, what can I do? I'm not going to vote, blah, blah, blah. No. Find the person you can vote for and vote for them. If there's nobody that you can vote for, then run yourself. Because there are hundreds of people who weren't politicians who are running for Congress. And man, we have to take back our states. We have to take back our towns. We have to take back the PTA. I think I told you guys, out in the deep woods, I had some youngsters, in their 20s, who graduated high school. And I was having them help me build something. And because a friend of mine had dropped off some wood to build with, because he wanted me, I was making a thing to collect solar energy electrically and to heat water, and he wanted to see how I did it. So he gave me whatever crap he had so I could make it, and he could, which was fine. He'd give me the hardware and I'll make it for him, and, I'd even make it for him. Anyway, he sent over some of his nephews and stuff to help me. And these guys graduated high school, but they couldn't even read a tape measure. They didn't know fractions. It's like, what? And then when I measured it out and drew lines for them, they couldn't saw straight. Each piece of wood they cut was wrong. So, and we were running, they couldn't cut the wire right. They screwed everything up. Now it's my fault because I was standing right there. But I'm kind of blind, so I couldn't see exactly what they were doing. And, it was like, okay, thanks, guys. Aren't you going to pay us now? I said, I don't think so. You can, see you later, bye. And so I had to fix it myself. And the guy who did that came and he couldn't even, this guy, he's, I've known him since he was a teenager. I kind of trained him to be a pretty good carpenter, plumber, electrician, and he works for a guy. I got him a job with a guy I know, and he spins like a top. He can't slow down, so he always makes mistakes. He's very good. Like one time we were building a deck, and we cut the wood and we laid it out, and I just said, tack this stuff down. When I came down, he put 20 screws into every board. If I wanted to change stuff out, I'd have to take, I basically said to him before he did it, it'd be one thing if I didn't tell him how to do it, but I did. I said, just put one screw in at either end of the board until we really, fine tune this. And I just want to see how it's going to look. And he put 20 screws. Oh, so it's really sturdy now, And I had to just go, okay, because, wasn't how I wanted it. I mean, it worked okay. It wasn't how I wanted it. And I had to accept that. And that's what we have, as a culture, have learned to just accept kind of not what we should have, not what we want, but it's okay for the moment. Well, I'm saying that instead of that, we should turn things around. And then these guys take they burn themselves out so they don't have a single moment to rest, relax, appreciate, and think about who and what they are and how they can make their life change. I mean, this handful of young folk who I helped get through school and get some kind of work, they in the last 10 years have had no self-reflection whatsoever. So, they are satisfied with having a diet of potato chips, Funyuns, and Mountain Dew, and rotting their teeth out of their head with, snuff, pinch. And their younger brothers and their children who are just coming up, they're doubling down on the worstness, and their grandmas and moms basically are obese but dying of starvation. Now, this is America, Shouldn't be that way. This whole area used to be, in the deep woods, the three counties, used to be one of the most fertile vegetable producing areas in America. And the corporations came in and basically changed it from that to Christmas trees and feed corn. And the plants that they put in year after year after year, same thing. There's no rotation, no nothing. They spray because people don't eat Christmas trees or feed corn. They're all genetically modified, and they spray. So, you can look up this guy, see the chemtrails. You can see the food in the supermarket that's going to kill you, even if you're eating vegetables. And you can see our social discourse and how just sick it is, because people believe that they can't change it. Their disbelief in anything different is the kiss of death. And I'm here to say that we don't need to go that way. We don't need to be shit-minded or a pity palace, and that's kind of what Versailles and Louis was, and look what happened to those guys. And the revolution that came after with Robespierre, that was worse for the poor guy, because after they chopped the heads off of the top guys and they became the rich, they went after the poor. So, what I'm asking you, what I'm calling you to do is between now and Thanksgiving, I want you to embrace what you can be thankful for, right? And when you see people who have less than you, help them out. And between now and Christmas, view every day as Christmas and give gifts, not of what's his name, has these children. And those kids, they follow the path of their parents' example, and so all they're interested in is the newest iPhone and the this and the that, and I want this, I want this, I want this. Don't give your children anything materialistic except, food, shelter, education, clothes. None of that's other stuff. You shouldn't be giving a smartphone to a 2-year-old, just because it mesmerizes them and you don't have to, deal with them. No, you had that child to learn from. You had that child to express your love to. And your love isn't just buying them stuff. It's being there for them. The reason I took care of my parents the last years of their lives, because I laid down the law saying, okay, whatever crap you gave me is the crap you wanted to give me. And it never really helped me. So from this point on, we are going to have a good time, because the best times I had with you guys when you were, when I was younger, wasn't the crap you gave me, you know, wasn't the presents at Christmas or this or that, my birthday, because they really didn't, you know, give me anything I wanted. They gave me shit that, you know, socks and stuff the way they wanted me to look. But we did have fun. You know, they were fun-loving people when they weren't neurotic, crazy, pitting their lives and soaking themselves in alcohol and tobacco. So I said, so you don't do that anymore, but you still can be a real asshole. So I'm not going to be with you when you're a real asshole. When you're a nice, fun-loving self, and we're having a good time doing simple things like taking walks, reading books, talking about interesting things. Yeah, I'll be with you. Other than that, no. So that's what we need to do with our loved ones. You know, go out. I mean, it's a beautiful day today, folks. Go out and take a walk with someone you love. You know, tell them how much you love them. If a third of the population, no, forget that. If 100th of the population of America did that, America would change for the good. So, how long? 37 minutes. I think that's it. You got any questions? We're in a chat here. Let's go back and see what you've chatted now that I can focus on. Okay, we got some nice colors. Okay, that's good. We'll go out and get in them. Rain stopped. Good morning. Understandable. Negative things such as waste of time. Yep. Stop wasting our time. All of us. Me too. But sitting around and meditating or looking at the colors of the trees changing is not a waste of time. Good afternoon from UK. I'm seeing double. Yeah, me too. I got 2 sets of glasses here. Let's see, we see what we see, but we do not always see what is there. That is so true, guy. Who was that? Karen. Yes, Karen Q. Give me a buzz on all of you. You want to talk? I'd love to have an extended conversation with you. Contact me on thedudeawake42@gmail. And I'll, that's where I'm going to head next, see if any of you guys want to have a personal conversation. Come on. Let's see. Why did it change colors? I can't even, it's like black on black. Karen, someone's deleting all your messages. Maybe I did it from stupidity. But Karen, get back to me. Contact me because you had these beautiful things and then they disappeared. And I can't see too well, so whatever button I push, and it's on the screen, so I don't even know what button I'm pushing. View message. Yep. Not enough time. Well, we can have as much time as we want. Go to that about 10 YouTubes back. Earlier in October, I have one called Setting Yourself Free. That'll give you enough time. It gives you all the time in the world. Are these boots? Why? Surfer Rosa, I love everyone's love. That's why you're my family. You're not just subscribers. You're my family of the depths. And you're doing a great job. You're being the best you can be. You can always be better. I try that. But we're human. We're stupid. We make mistakes. We can get upset. We can do all those things. But that's okay. Forgive yourself. Forgive the ones around you. Always. As Surfer Rosa says. So, what else can we say? Massachusetts. I used to live all over Massachusetts. I lived up there in, Putney, Vermont. I lived in where UMass is, and what's that other elitist school up there? I lived in Athol. I lived in Winchington. I lived in Bethel. I lived in Boston. I lived all over Massachusetts. Luckily, in my younger days when I could put up with a cold. This is true, Miss Surfer Rosa. The world needs more love and understanding. So be that love and understanding the world needs. All of us. In every day and every way. Take the peace and love of love's co-creation and make it stronger. Oh, 11:43, 11:40, let's see, 41 minutes and 47, 48, 49 seconds. So when it hits 42 minutes, 42 seconds, I will go off and look at my Gmail so we can have longer conversations. You can get back to me. But I love you guys. Get out there and see the foliage. Go for walks with people you love. Share everything that is the best of you with everyone around you. And forgive yourself when you're a stupid moron, because, hey, we're all stupid morons. I know I am. One thing I know is I know nothing, So here we go. We're getting close to 42, 42, and that's what I'm going to say. I love you guys. I keep saying I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And go have a good Halloween. Go have some fun.